Okay, we have beer because this is the Sixth Axis Pubcast, which is a brand new thing because we decided to go for some pints and talk about games.
We really like beer.
We like beer.
And it seemed like a really good excuse. Because it is.
Yes. We've taken over a small section of the pub.
Yeah, so we're in the pub. We are going to talk about games. And yeah, but since this is the first one, we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Dom. I am the reviews editor for The Sixth Axis, for my sins. And I like most games. I like games.
I like games.
But I particularly like racing games and RPG games. I think those are my two favourites. And Nintendo games, because that's a genre of its own.
Cardboard.
Those are your two favourites, naming three.
Yeah. This is the podcast. Accuracy
He's
may
a rule
descend.
master. He can do whatever he wants.
So let's go to my left. We've got Steve.
Yep, I'm Steve. I'm a reviewer for the Sixth Axis. I mainly play kids' games with my kids because they're always there. But when I get some free time, horror games, role-playing games, mainly what I go for. Racing games, no, not for me. Not going to touch those. I suck so hard. Apart from Super Mario Kart, I can handle that. But yeah, that's me.
Oh, everyone's looking at me. Hello,
You're
that was a
speaking.
little intimidating. I'm Aid. I write reviews for TSA, and also I do the playing with history stuff as well. I'm kind of looking intently at the mic as I talk, which is weird.
And you're the trained actor. You're the trained actor amongst us.
Isn't it? Favorite games? I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed at the moment. That's really good. You know, like RPGs, action. I don't like racing games either. Or sports games apart from WWE, which I enjoy.
Not a sport.
It is athletes.
Hi, I'm Kale. I am TSA's official least prolific writer. And I like lots of games. ARPGs, JRPGs, RPGs.
All the G's.
Yeah, I'm an obnoxious Zelda fan. I've like too much Zelda merch all over my house. But yeah, I like Nintendo games as well. And Overwatch. For my sins.
Yes, those are the only things. Okay, so that's us. Sadly, you stuck with our company now for about probably an hour.
Wow, an hour.
Once you start a podcast, that's it. You're in.
Hello.
There's no saying.
Yes, you can't actually switch this off now. So, our first big question is cardboard video games? Because Nintendo seem to think that cardboard is video games. Steve, what do you think?
My kids are hugely excited
About cardboard?
Are we going to say Labo? Labeur?
How do you say it?
How are we going to pronounce it? I think I presume it's
Labo.
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 Yeah.
Labo.
Labio. Labia. Sounds too much like labia. Oh, maybe.
You can make it a bit
weird.
Harry Potter there. Laboruso. I really like the idea of it as we play with kids, and they did very much foreground it as this is a kids thing for kids. There wasn't any kind of, they weren't presenting it as this is the next big thing in Vidya. It was, this is a kids product, and I could see myself really enjoying both the construction and the playing with kids. I mean, we've got a lot of hours of use out of Let's Tap, which is the previous example of cardboard and gaming.
Tap dancing.
Let's Tap is a if you don't know, is a cardboard box.
I did not know.
You put the Wiimote on it and you tap to a rhythm to do various mini games, and the Wiimote picks up the vibrations and translates. So it's actually almost like an early version. That was a Sega. That was a Sega game. Oh, this is the academic me. I'm
learning
All
together.
right, here we go.
stroking my beard, telling you the history of games.
Who developed it?
That was quite fun. And there's been a lot of negative response in some places about the costs and everything, but when you factor in
The cost of the game.
cost of a game and what Nintendo games cost generally,
Yes.
and then you think about how much those kind of constructions cost for kids, you're not going to get a lot of change at 10, 20 quid for any kind of decent construction equipment.
They've
No.
got
For
an
kids with
unveiling
cardboard,
in
yeah.
Kensington next month. You have to have a child with you to go.
Just grab
Yeah,
a child.
they don't care if it's your
lend me that
child.
Or a child has to find an adult.
Yes, that is also yes.
And no,
It's so creepy.
there's now a whole mashup of kind of Don't Look Now and Nintendo fans. So it's going to be little dwarves in raincoats going to look at this. It's all going to look dark. But no, I think there's a real space for it. If it becomes overbearing and they start replacing Zelda and Metroid with cardboard, then it becomes Gears of War. But yeah, I think there's space in the future for gamers with cardboard, and you can't knock the eco-friendly. I've got so many pointless bits of Wii branded plastic tat at home that I can't do it with. No one wants it, but you can't throw it away because it's just in a landfill.
What would David Attenborough do? Get Labo.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah, it's a blue planet, so let's think cardboard.
I think it's
Yes.
really good for catching kids' imagination anyway. I used to make shit out of cardboard, like all sorts, and moving parts particularly is really cool. I really like it.
I think like the whole, because it's play. What is it? It's make, play, discover.
Sure.
So Nintendo Labo it's a 3-tier system. So you've got crafting, which you've got really nice sort of instructions that come up on your Switch. You can use the touch screen to look around at what it should actually look like. So there's a bit of sort of like the Lego Dimensions sort of stuff in there, which like went down really well with me and Noah. And then you get
Are we naming our children now?
Oh wow!
Ah, Mystery Child 1.
Child had 6 years ago, but and then you get to play some form of game with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like quite how gamey some of this stuff is going
Yeah.
to be.
It's
the
gonna
how,
be-
the how gaming, because I mean I've got Wii Play and the Wii Motion Play, you know, with the
Yeah.
and some of them were quite fun. They were good diversions, but they weren't gonna rock your world.
No.
But there seems with the two price points that maybe the variety pack is kind of that kind of Wii Play bits
so.
of things, whereas the robot one does seem to be at this early point maybe a full game.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
is
like
why they're separate.
So with the robot one,
Separate
you wear the
entities.
robot.
You do.
Yeah.
What if you have like if it doesn't fit? Can you have multiple sizes of robot?
it looks pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well-
more like a just sits on
like
your
a
back.
back-
Yeah,
so
Okay.
whether you can-
it's a backpack.
Yeah.
You don't have to get in a suit. It's not.
Oh,
the
that's
end-
exciting.
It's
I was
not the
hoping I'd
end.
have a helmet.
It's not the end of
and
Aliens.
gloves.
No, it's got a visor and a backpack, and the back.
But I think one of the coolest things is that people will make full mech suits
Yeah.
that they build their system into. So I think that's going to be one of the coolest things that we do see out of it.
Do you think with Nintendo that with people being able to make their own stuff, is there the danger that they just won't buy the official branded product unless they're a kid?
No, because you
But
need to
you
buy
need
the
the
game.
cart.
You buy the software, and they're apparently going to. There's been already lots of competing stuff, but whether they're going to freely make the downloads available for the kits, or whether they're going to charge you, whether they're going to just make the schematics
It's
available.
for the replacements.
Yeah,
that will
they,
inevitably be
already
needed.
today
Yeah.
I've heard so many conflicting reports on that through extensive research. It was
You've
either
been
that-
on Twitter.
It was either that or write a review that's overdue for a really disappointing adventure game. What am I going to do? And so it does depend on that front. I mean, my biggest worry of it is it really makes my ability as a parent. It's like the really annoying parents on the school run who construct these amazing things for any costume day.
Sure.
Last year for Roald Dahl Day, I made my son also 6, but I didn't have him with Dom.
Does he have a different name?
fantastic snapping crocodile head out of a leftover Sainsbury's or other supermarkets are available cake box, and he was really impressed. But then you put it alongside what Nintendo are doing, and it looks utterly shit. Think of the parents.
Yeah, but it's like
Yes.
$70 cheaper.
Yeah, and Nintendo didn't make it probably some factory in China.
They made it to spite me. That's what I'm saying. Because I once dissed Breath of the Wild. They thought, right. No, I think it's really good potential for it. And the only thing is the games, will the games add to the imagination or will they take away? I think the one with the little... Apparently, as I'm reading up on this, there's apparently possibly some infrared facilities on the car racing one. So you can put a box over it and view it through an IR camera.
You can view it through the IR camera on the Joy-Con, on the screen.
So then you've got a whole kind of line of Crystal Maze style effects, and that can be really good. And, first thing my kids do if you give them any kind of car set is work out how to make the biggest ramps and crash them everywhere.
Sure.
Which is fine because the Joy-Cons, unless you're putting the Switch in that, which you don't want to do.
My children throw them at the 4K telly and I
Cry tears a man.
and then hide them.
But some of the other modes, it's like, is it just going to be a novelty? You build a fishing rod and you play a fishing game, and we've all bought. Well, we've all seen.
No one has ever bought a fishing game ever.
all bought a fishing game.
Well, no, back the Dreamcast.
Sega Bass Fishing.
Sega Bass, and it was fine. But then you have. Hasn't someone finished Dark Souls with a dance metal or something? You have these weird challenges, and so you can see them being. That's good, but. Are they just going to be a one-off? Is that it?
Do you think there's a danger that people realise they don't need the Nintendo, they just need the cardboard box and an imagination, and it's essentially the same thing?
What you're thinking of there is cats.
Yes. Similar though.
There have already been loads of mashups of people just with boxes with cats in, saying that's all you have. But I can't. Yeah, there's a place for cardboard.
I think it's going to be. I really like it as a parent. Doing things where you build stuff together is awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. And Lego costs an absolute bomb.
Yeah.
And most of these things tend to, really.
Yeah.
So, okay, framing it with the fact that it's cardboard, but it's cardboard with a Switch cartridge attached to it. And you can bung your Switch in it, and it does lots of really cool, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, Noah is massively into Robot Wars, annoyingly so.
Oh,
It's where every waking moment is about Robot Wars. But one of the things that's in that video is controlling a little radio controlled robot, which he thought is the best thing ever. And ultimately, it looks like is going to be one of the easiest ones to make. It's just two little bits.
It's just a little box put on the side.
But the other thing as well is up until 3-4 months ago, he wanted to be a paleontologist. It was all about dinosaurs. But now, since he's got into Robot Wars, he wants to be an engineer. This is what he now says. I mean, he's 6 years old and he says he wants to be an engineer.
Until
that's the way forward,
about 3 months ago, I was changing the things I wanted to do every 6 months, Tom. I mean, and I'm a 31-year-old man.
Now I'm in my 40s with a PhD and no current job. I'm doing the same. I still want to be a paleontologist.
Yeah, I still want to be a paleontologist and an engineer.
All right, we all want to be paleontologists.
If there's going to be,
and we can fulfill our dreams now with Nintendo.
If there's going to be a market out there for the kind of tap we've had for years with Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, Skyland, etc., which, if you go into most high street game stores that have a name closely related to what they sell, a lot of it is taken up by that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If that is going to be cardboard instead, that's got to be a good thing. Not to be all kind of environmentalist, but it will be. Rather, because what do you do with the Skyline?
Where have all those Wii Fits gone?
At the same time,
Giant landfill sites of
if you buy a second-hand amiibo from CEX, you can wash it.
But if you buy,
I don't think there's going to be a big market for the second-hand Nintendo Labo.
Unlike the Switch cards, you can lick the card.
Was the first thing I did when I got my first Switch cartridge. Dom wouldn't let me do it to his Breath of the Wild copy when he got it.
I wonder why.
I wanted to see what it tasted like.
What did it taste like?
Like that stuff you put on your nails to stop you biting them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they tell you not to lick it, but they know people will lick
Yeah.
it.
That's the
So
worst
they
thing to
put
say.
something
Don't
on it.
lick it.
So they
Someone's
put-
going to lick
so
it.
it's
Don't look
deliberately
down. Look
set
down.
up for an unboxing video where someone goes,
But literally
See how
in my
that
life,
gets picked
I've never even considered
Licking
what a cartridge tasted like. But then when they've told me that this one tastes of something, then I at
Exactly.
least am thinking about it.
Although, to be fair, I probably in my time have accidentally tasted a cartridge when blowing to get it to work again.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they were
Blowing
going for.
weirdly.
But I play the
Playing the
Ocarina
Mega
with Tom.
Drive
What can I
harmonica.
say?
I think the thing I'm most excited
That's not my Twitter bio.
it should be change it. I think the thing I'm most excited by is, like, come Christmas, that bits of cardboard will be selling for 500 quid on eBay.
Yeah.
It's like the PS2 box all over again. People were selling
empty
content.
box.
Yeah.
Nintendo Wii's and the amount they were selling for.
It depends how many they make and how many it sells, or whether it's going to be classic Nintendo stifle demand.
If it's short stocked and it's cardboard, then there's really no excuse on that front.
I mean,
No.
you can buy the NFC things for Amiibo online, right? So people just sell the tags so people can get the stuff without the figures, and whether people will start selling...
We wouldn't encourage that. We don't get blacklisted by Nintendo, of course.
No, they quite like us on the whole.
No. I mean, I'm not encouraging it. I like Amiibo.
This is
But
piracy
some
is bad.
uncouth
okay?
motherfuckers probably don't. And I wonder whether you'll start seeing, if Nintendo don't sell enough, whether we'll see pirate versions of the cardboard schematics.
Well, in theory, if you're buying the game and with the Switch the way it's set up, it would be easy to have extra DLC that are extra games. You wouldn't need to have the cartridge and everything. And yeah, you could easily have third party. You could have them even made with perhaps shoddier cardboard, but you could even have
Shoddy cardboard.
well, you can
Paper.
Well, no,
it's made with paper.
There is a big difference between properly manufactured cardboard and the kind of crap you get in your Amazon packaging or whatever. And so there is potential. There's also potential for 3D printing and making things that are really kind of proper custom jobs that could be really interesting. and
Yeah.
exciting.
If you make like a proper 3D printed version of any of it to keep forever, or to enhance your robot suit.
I think the biggest thing is it's Nintendo once again doing whatever the hell they like.
They just don't seem to care, do they?
But that's fine. I like it when they're on a run and they can just take risks. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Everyone,
nice.
everyone else is doing 4K,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they've gone cardboard.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I'm surprised it's not papyrus. I mean, let's go.
It's very geeky,
The
Joe.
Nintendo, really.
That's an academic joke right there.
I went papyrus, not vellum. I could have gone,
True.
made it from goat skin. That's what you want. The first console made from goat skin. Background noise.
That's the
provided
hand
to
dryer.
a
That's the
dryer.
hand dryer. It's awful.
Deadly.
It's not awful.
It's
I mean,
pretty
it dries
effective, but it's
hands very well.
terrifying.
But it gives you tinnitus.
Yeah. Cool. So ultimately, Nintendo Labo, cardboard, video games.
Yeah, I think it'll work. I think it really will.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll have to see. We'll see what the robot game's like, maybe.
Yeah.
And what its legs are.
I mean, everyone utterly ripped the piss out of ARMS
Yeah.
up until the point they played it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's everyone's now thinking, no, this needs a sequel. It's really established itself. It's a really good. It looked like a mini game, and it was so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, though, they've considered the fire risks. I'm fully expecting a Daily Mail to report that some cardboard was set on fire, burn a house down, and games are to blame.
well, yeah,
Yes.
in the post-Brexit Britain, maybe there'll be a cardboard tax, and maybe we'll have to pay extra.
Oh, you bring in the Liberal. Seamless.
Good. Very nicely done.
Ban this sick cardboard filth.
Ban it.
Yeah, undoubtedly. They do it about everything.
If it's gaming, I mean, I'm all for the idea that the idea of games should be as broad and open as term as it could be.
Yeah.
And anything that kind of seeks to gatekeep and restrict it is bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it opens up. It's not aimed at hardcore gamers, though most of the hardcore gamers I know are really excited about it. Some of them have kids, some of them will have to steal kids to go to the demo. But it seems to have some. The Switch, ever since
Don't steal children.
That's bad, everyone.
Unless you know them really well.
No, even then it's not.
It's okay.
The Switch has always been
Shrimp
everyone
Portugal.
saying, no, it's not what we want. We want it to be. We want Nintendo to do HD. We want Zelda in like 4K. And then actually, when they get what they get, everyone's like, yeah, it's really good. So that's not being a Nintendo fanboy, which I know I am in some ways. But I just think anything that broadens that category is got to be a good thing. And it's as long as it doesn't mean that the franchises that we all can play in a community game, but all buy and love, they're not replaced.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
I think it captures that imagination for creativity, but in a more real way.
But then
rather
when
than
somebody
saying-
hacks into your Switch because it's online, as we've read on the Daily Mail, and starts watching your children through the Joy-Cons, then obviously that's not a good thing.
Excellent, yeah.
But if they're going to watch them, if that means I can go to the pub, then, just tell them when to go to bed.
I'll just show them the paedophile special of Brass Eye and be like, look, they already did it.
Let them play cake.
Cool.
And on that bombshell.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue.
From Nintendo to Brass Eye.
Moving on.
Oh,
Okay.
Chris Morris and my Amato. They're going to be on my bucket list dinner party.
Now
So glad you said dinner party.
You've got dreams, like kind of doing lots of creativity, sort of making things, but within a tool set for a game, and then having something more real in front of you that's made of stuff. I think these things are nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can colour it in.
Yeah.
That was the bit my kids were most excited about.
Yeah.
Do they provide the pens, though? Do they roll out those pens in the trailer?
There seems to be an additional pack that contains tape and decorative stickers.
Wow.
Although those stickers may be templates, possibly.
Right,
I'm not
okay.
sure, because the ones that were numbers and letters from the pre-release stuff, it wasn't clear, because they could be, but then you can buy such things as number
From
and letter
any
templates.
local craft store.
Yes, and many crap stores, actually.
Yeah. Poundland.
I am waiting for the Poundland versions, because we've all seen the versions of the Wii that you can get for like £10, and you can get a Wii for £10 now, but originally they have the worst games possible. I'm waiting for the bad versions of the cardboard. If nothing else, that is worth a podcast of just playing on a bad cardboard thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The labio.
It's going to stick now, that.
Has to.
Well, moving on to other people's dreams. It looks like Fable is returning, but with Playground Games at the helm. Now that Lionhead is no longer, and we never saw Fable Legends. Well, some of us saw it, and it potentially wasn't very good. But yeah, are we excited that Fable's coming back?
Yes. But, I mean...
And that's it. The end.
Yes. Next.
Is it going to be on PS4?
I think...
No.
Well, man.
Pretty sure Microsoft own
All
it.
those people that have an Xbox One
Yeah.
are going to buy it and like it.
I mean, it's just
that's
kind
good.
of it's kind of bleak
It'll
that
be a
it's
reason
on the
to have
tails of closing Lionhead. I think that's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
Yes.
It's, but I think Playground are really, really good dev. Could do something good.
Yeah.
But closing a studio, then releasing the game they were going to make anyway.
It'll be something very different.
It'll be
won't
like-
it? It'll be a Last of Us.
The
flavor.
prequel to Kill a Mockingbird, released
So
when...
Sounds amazing.
Be Uncharted of the Fable of Us.
And it'll still have a load of stuff they promised that doesn't work in it.
Yeah, and it'll be a gas game.
Wouldn't be a Fable game otherwise, right?
If it doesn't have a mode where you can stand in front of a door and eat chickens to get evil, and then make yourself good again by eating vegetables and fruit, I'm not in. That's the best mode, where you literally change the way you look in terms of good and evil by what you eat.
Do we want it to
It's
tell
the
us
Gillian McKeith.
Do we want it to tell us that we're low on health? There are things about Fable that I think are amazing, and I think I've got a lot of very good memories of playing. So
First Fable,
the
definitely.
first Fable is still amongst my favourite ever games. I haven't returned to it, so I'm not sure.
Nostalgia
I've
glasses.
almost
Yeah,
gone
keep
back
those
to the
glasses on.
anniversary one. I've picked it up so many times in game shops and almost thought, I don't think I want to
Yeah,
return to that moment.
but 2 is very good.
Yeah, two's
Two's
good.
very good as well.
Bland.
Three's got John Cleese. And three's got John Cleese.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
save everything.
It
though,
gets
does it?
1 Python out of 10.
Wow.
So
No, it's just so padded. Three seemed like it was the kind of real problem with the whole open world. You can do all these different
Yeah.
things, but you really couldn't.
I think 3 was an example of chasing after something that maybe Lionhead just weren't set up for, and didn't really know what to do with Fable in that context. But you've got to presume that this new one it's going to be a huge open world. It's going to be a massive rendition of Albion.
I hope the main character is Molyneux. That would be good.
But what would Molyneux do in the game?
Lie a lot.
Yeah, make massive promises that you can't keep. Yes, I will do this quest, and I will slay the dragon, and I won't steal all the apples from your chests, and I won't fart in your general direction.
So, but then it does nothing.
It's not Fable without those things.
And then you start it up, and Fable just goes, yeah.
I mean, at least you know it's not going to use Connect. So
I finished the Connect Fable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about that.
Judging you.
No,
You can't see our faces, but they are.
in many ways, it was the kind of Labo before its time. The whole idea of sitting on a
horse,
on a chair whilst rocking yourself gently as if you're on a horse was. I'd like to say before its time, but it's very much of its time. No, it was pretty terrible. But then most Connect games outside of Fruit Ninja and Connect Party are so.
And Dance Central, I think.
Yeah, but then the game itself could you don't need the Connect for that. It will give you a score.
No. Yeah.
But if you're doing the dance for the fun, you could watch a video of the same really in that way. Whereas at least there was more of a gaming interaction like the Fruit Ninja and stuff. Yeah. But I did set up my Connect a couple of weeks ago for the kids to play on. They really enjoyed it.
Right. Okay.
I'm hoping they don't go open world though. Because like part of the charm of the first Fable, I think, was that arcade sensibilities mixed with having it that good bad dynamic going on. And there's so many open world games now. Maybe it'd be nice if they did something a little bit different.
It would be, but they won't.
No, sure.
No, open world is the new. It's the
new
thing
closed
everyone's
world.
chasing. Yeah.
And it's all about power, isn't it? And the consoles that we have now are capable of pumping these sort of.
They'll use it as a
dynamic
4K
worlds out.
showcase, an open
It will
world
be
one.
4K.
But I mean, it's a shame that they're doing another Fable in a sense rather than just doing a whole new game, and it still kind of sticks to that kind of mantra of Microsoft kind of keeping their kind of few exclusives, but kind of reiterating.
Well, yeah, you've got Forza, Fable, Gears of War,
Halo.
and
You nearly
Halo,
forgot
yeah.
them.
But they've got
Went really downhill for them, didn't it, with the
Halo's been a
exclusives?
bit left behind recently.
Absolutely.
It seems like it's been a long time since a Halo came out.
But they need more first-party games. But they could increase that a little bit, and it's a shame they've seen Horizon as a springboard for this, really, but then not actually gone in that direction and made something new themselves or new.
I mean, I'm not coming as a Sony fanboy. I can't afford all the consoles, and I've got a PlayStation because I've also got an okay gaming PC, and there just isn't enough to make me want to get an Xbox as well at the moment. And they need more.
Well,
so if Fable turns out to be
do.
good, it's another reason to want to get an Xbox. And that's it's got to be, apart from the financials, it's got to be good to have more good games on consoles to make it worth having them.
Yes.
But I don't know. Who's going to be buying Fable now? Is it going to be caught between generations as well? Because it's going to be held back by being playable on an Xbox One or an Xbox One S.
Well,
or is it going to be really pushed towards an Xbox One X?
It's the same
kind of marginal.
but it's the same thing now as anything that releases on PS4 and PS4 Pro. They have to run on the older version. Don't they?
Definitely. Yeah.
But you're going to be hamstrung by that original Xbox.
The difference is not going to be, isn't as kind of vast as the original Xbox One and the X, for example.
No.
Yeah. Well, I think the X was positioned as being more of a next gen thing than the Pro was for the PlayStation. Maybe that's just the side I took from it.
I think it's the full step.
Yeah.
And I think if you're in the know,
connected.
some people might, if you take the two against each other, the PS4 Pro is now only sort of half a step towards.
Yeah.
And it was
true.
It was barely a half step anyway.
Truly
Yeah,
making that jump to 4K, which, if that's what we're chasing after, that's what they think we're chasing after. I prefer 60 frames per second personally.
Yes. Well,
but the Xbox One X is an amazing piece of hardware. It's a fantastic console. It looks brilliant. It's whisper quiet.
yes, that'd be nice.
And the graphics it pumps out are amazing. Genuinely, like you can. Well, I mean, compared with the original Xbox, it's a huge leap.
The original
Really is?
Xbox One.
The Xbox One.
Right, okay,
yeah.
No, honestly,
Original Xbox.
I was just checking.
That's not that impressive. I'll be honest with you.
I was checking. That wasn't. I haven't got one because I can't afford a PS4 Pro. But I'm just as like to play on my 3DS or play indie game on my PC, as you'll know if you see most of my reviews on the site. So I'm not into the graphics part of it, and there just isn't the draw. So it felt like it's that weird thing where there seems to be that kind of interim upgrade of consoles, and the PlayStation is just as guilty as the Xbox 4 is, where it becomes.
It's because they released.
It's the PC
underpowered.
that's not a PC, because with a PC you upgrade a PC and it opens up lots of other things.
Yeah.
You upgrade a machine, you're still playing the same games, it's the same core experiences.
Sure.
And the Xbox One X is if you can afford to buy a 4K TV as well.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not really going to give you much other than a bit more quiet. And then, to be honest, I play most of my games on the PS4 with headphones in, so I don't hear the fan taking off. And I finally
Your family hear that fan and they can't sleep.
My last PS4.
They live with
I could
me,
hear
they
it
can't
over
sleep
my
anyway.
headphones, it had got that loud.
I opened mine up.
It's a good
It was
idea.
well past its warranty to clean it, and oh my god, it was like there was a family of voles inside it. It's like, oh my god, I just don't know. Now I kind of put it in like a hermetic. It's like Michael Jackson's bubbles. There will be no more dust getting in there. But it's still, even though it's been cleaned out, occasionally when I was playing Until Dawn a couple of weeks ago, we just at a random bit with there'd be anything happening on the screen, it would just go. I mean, like, why are you doing that? But no, Fables. Fables.
Best segment ever. Elephant noise, Fable.
I loved the first Fable. I liked the second Fable. The third Fable happened. Had John Cleese in it. If they can make it good, then yeah, it's a good
Is it going to be
thing.
Fable 4? Is it kind of...
It'll be.
that
I
sort
bet
of
they
thing?
call it just Fable, don't they? 'Cause
There's Fable. Are they going
they
to
know I
drop
hate
Fable
that.
Legends now? Because there was Fable Heroes, which was the quite cool but very limited 2D-ish one, wasn't
yes,
it? It was
yeah.
fun, but
I mean,
I call it
the
Fable.
throwaway. Yeah.
I mean,
Without
it's a good
subtitles.
point saying that it about it. Is it between generations? Because I mean, how many years ago was Fable 3 now?
Wow.
And
Those
it's-
people might have moved onto other consoles or.
well, almost certainly they will have.
Yeah.
Because they'll have bought a PS4. But is Fable going to bring them back to the fold? Maybe it could do. If it's going to be good,
If it ends up being decent.
probably more than Crackdown.
It needs to be good, but it also needs to be
Really good.
interesting.
Yeah.
They need to do something with it to get people in, because
They need to call it Fable 4.
there is a conception, which I know I
We need to
share.
call it
The Xbox
Fablia.
doesn't
Fable.
have those, unless you like the particular, and it is in many ways. I think Horizons and Forza are much better than GT Sport. It seems to be quite universal thought.
Yeah,
So if you're into racing games, I can completely see why you go for an Xbox.
yeah,
If you can afford both, then great. But if you've got one or the other, and you weigh up Gears of War, Halo against Horizon, Persona, Yakuza, Nier, Neo, and the rest. I mean, there may be ones I forget on the Xbox. I don't have one, so I don't know. But there does seem to
No,
be
you
a
don't really
need
forget many.
for more killer apps on the Xbox.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they've brought out a new, very, very powerful console with not a lot of new stuff to play on it, really.
I mean,
Apart
and
from
most
the
people
thing
have-
is,
multiplats,
the
which
thing is
fair
now.
enough.
Well, and the thing is now is that is now the place to play multi-platform
Absolutely.
games, whereas Sony have had that for the last few years.
People don't buy a new
That's
console
That's a
for
big
multiplayer.
shift.
It's a big shift, but then you see the likes of Monster Hunter, which I'm sure we'll go on to in a bit in terms of things you want to play. If most of your friends have got a PS4, will you move on to an Xbox One X version because it looks a bit nicer when your friends aren't playing it?
No,
So,
and
so multi-platform will only go so far in terms of single-player communities.
yeah.
And if you'd really chase the you see what happened with Destiny 2, where people were really pushing for the format they want to play on. Actually, it turned out to be majorly disappointing for people playing multiplayer games.
Yeah.
That's maybe not the place to push the most powerful console. So you need more good single-player experiences that will make you want to buy that console.
Yeah.
I think the X does put Microsoft in a strange position for their next gen console. Even though they've said they're not doing generations anymore, I think they probably will again because they will. But for their next Xbox, do they wait longer because of how powerful they've just made their current one? Otherwise, it's a kind of weird trade-off. They're going to end up cannibalising their own sales by announcing a new console in 1 or 2 years.
Hopefully they'll just add an X each time.
XOX.
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses.
yeah.
Hugs and
favourite
kisses,
Xbox.
wow. Well, it reminds me a lot, as I'm a really old man, you know, guys, of when the Xbox originally came out and was more powerful than the PS2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people knew the PlayStation, didn't know Microsoft. Halo was a killer app, they brought it for that, but then lots of people didn't know what to buy elsewhere until
No.
you had
They weren't
Halo,
buying
you had the
Fusion
Forces.
Frenzy,
There
the
were a
best
few.
game on
Well, no, there were good
Xbox.
games, but we're in that position again now where they've got the most powerful console,
Yeah.
but people, if they've already invested and bought into, and you've got the added thing now of paying for online play.
I think literally
So
it was
not
their
everyone
own,
could afford to
it was
pay
their
for
hurt
both.
pride
So-
that made them make the most powerful console because they were tired of not being
The most powerful.
the most powerful console. I really think that's
they've
why
been
done
playing
it.
catch up since before they even released the Xbox One because they knackered up what they thought the gamers wanted.
Sure.
And they've been chasing it ever since. And the thing is that by chasing it, we're getting loads of really good stuff out
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
So, I mean, like backwards compatibility. I love the fact that I can play some of my 360 games. Okay, maybe I don't play all of my Xbox 360 games, but
You can.
But I can. I can
Because
play.
we all need more
Wonderful.
options to play our backlog, don't we? That's what we're crying out for. There are no new games. No, I agree. PlayStation, by turning... And I played with lots of Wii games on the Wii U, and that's going back several generations now, effectively.
Yeah.
But that is a good thing. You get with the old console, you can still play the games.
Yeah.
And PlayStation, Sony, I think, missed a trick by having none of that.
I
Because there are
just
a few
don't- I-
PS3 games I want to play. But I
They-
don't want to buy
yeah.
another console to
But
get back on them.
The problem is
Play
that PCs are only just being able to emulate PS3 games
Yeah.
because they made the PS3 such a technological clusterfuck that it's taking so long to emulate it that the PS4 has no chance because its CPU is a
Yeah.
bag of shit.
Yeah.
And the problem is they made these new consoles to have these really, really high-end graphics, but gave them really wank mobile processors. Like,
So much editing required for everything you're saying.
sorry,
So,
Put a warning on
which
it.
one of us here is the linguist?
fucking me.
Well, I think the problem is that so many people, and I'm saying this because it's what I've done, so that's all I know. But I do have who've had a 360 was the kind of the winner in terms of the last generation.
Yeah.
So lots of people have gone
Yes,
360
apart
to
from
PS4,
sales, I think international sales. It's
and
been
so
overtaken by
there's a lot of kind of
PS3
feeling you've missed out on the PS3. And now you've got a PS4, so you're kind of missing out on the few things that are the big exclusives for Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd love it,
But there
it's
is this
just-
people are switching from one side to the other as they go through, whereas
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be that brand loyalty that maybe there used to be
But-
back in the Sega Nintendo.
I think so.
So then they're rolling out all the remasters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And-
make money from remasters.
I mean, stuff like
Remasters in some
the
cases.
Uncharted collection and like Valkyria Chronicles as well, and things that were absolute killer apps on the PS3. I mean, I'm not a programmer, so I don't know how much work goes into up-resing everything and
I think it
bringing
depends
and
what
bringing-
res they
depends what they
originally
did.
made in,
Yeah,
isn't it?
But-
Akami, God of War, quite a lot. Silent Hill collection on the Xbox 360, none at all.
And some games were made, like, even for like the PS2 era, they made them with really good detailed textures, but then had to compress it so much to fit them onto those consoles that you lost a lot. So I think God of War was a good example. The HD remasters for those, I think they did a lot of work, but didn't need to do a lot to the original artwork because it was
No.
already there.
Sure.
But I mean, Sony have missed a trick because while they can't emulate PS3 games, they could do PS1 and PS2 games easily. Like that is just there's no. And
The
why
thing
are
is,
they
they
not doing
do,
that?
but they repackage them with achievements and sell them. And I mean, I think I've only bought Rogue Galaxy,
I bought Rogue Galaxy,
which I've
Me
not
too.
yet got around to play.
same.
Even though I've got a
Me
PS2,
too.
I've got a version for the PS2 I spent ages trying to find and got for a tenner. I was really happy about it, and then spent £5 on Rogue Galaxy on the PS4.
Yeah.
Partly for the
same.
Like
achievements.
Dark Cloud and Dark Chronicles.
I didn't buy those.
No, I nearly
Although
bought them in the sale.
I did find Dark Chronicles in a charity shop for £1 and may have quickly turned that over to get more money for it, which I feel dirty for doing. But I did go towards my Wii U, so yeah.
Oh, well.
But yeah, it's that whole thing of rehashing old franchises, old material.
PS1, the digital PS1 library is huge. Oh, it was huge. It's probably, I don't even know if you can still find them, but ones that we've even bought, or even discs, it'd just be nice
Well,
to be able to at least do those.
my PSP Go, for the 10 minutes I can play it at a time before my hands cramp, is a PS1 emulation machine.
Yeah.
On the Vita, I bought I think it was the sale, might have been a Halloween sale, or it was sort of last autumn time. I bought the Final Fantasies and the Resident Evils
Yeah.
because I was playing emulation, but I would rather buy them because that's a good thing to do, kids.
Yeah.
And play them on the Vita, and they work brilliantly.
Vita's
The
my
Vita's an
emulation
amazing
machine.
thing that's been completely abandoned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forget going back to Fable. Let's just resurrect the Vita. For some
Yeah.
reason. But there is scope for all of these kind of retro things. But there needs to be more than nostalgia for Fable. To get back to the question we started on.
Good segue.
What was the question?
It can't just be about kicking chickens.
It's got to be about punching chickens. That's the upgrade.
Punching Nazis. That's what we're about.
It's whether the outrage for closing Lionhead Studios is still kind of raw enough, and whether a lot of those people that were really outraged actually wanted more Fable games, or are more just annoyed that Microsoft had closed the studio.
But then if
There's a
people
lot
have bought an Xbox One X, and I don't know what the sales are like for it.
No,
we don't.
And we don't. And it's an interesting question because they are very much on offer now. If you go to various stores and shops and things.
Be right back. I need a wiener beer.
Okay,
Good night.
We'll return.
So what is
I'm
it?
not recording.
Yes.
I might.
Well, we are recording.
Oh, wow.
I was just going to chop it all out.
Splice that in. Splice that in.
Ah, tits.
I might just fire off Black Mirror and take. I'm interested. Actually, I haven't read around it with the. I can't remember the name now. It's not a hero. It's the other one that's on Asylum at the moment. The hero, next gen hero.
Oh, next up
Up.
hero. Yeah.
That looks interesting in terms of the way in which they take the whole mechanic of dying and then getting stronger, but they apply it to the whole community. So if everyone dies at a boss, you get more powerful, so you can take that boss on and move forward. Which
Okay.
it sounds like an interesting, but it's not something that will work if you buy it in a year's time.
No, I was going to say, what's
So
the
it's-
longevity of
I mean,
that?
I think it's in early access
Yeah,
as well. So
it's on the Switch. Is it on the Switch yet, or about to be? Because the Switch obviously
it
doesn't
is
do-
coming on Switch, I think.
So
but
they're
it's
doing
just
the
PC
whole
at the moment.
play it out on Steam, and then when they've refined it,
Yeah.
release it. Yeah, which is a shame because I do play a lot of these things on PC and then feel like I'm playing half the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if I play them when they get onto consoles, it's kind of the fully refined thing.
Do you? It's
And there's lots of games I deliberately won't play early access, even though I like the idea of it because. Have you seen Ghost of a Tale, which is the one with the little mouse running around it, which looks amazing, really lovely.
Yeah. No, I've seen the trailer for that.
yeah.
It's not Biomutant, which is the other one. The fuzzy thing. But it looks amazing. At the moment, there's a third of the content they've not yet finished. It's available. It's like, I don't want to get into it and then have it stop and then come back because I know something else was taken over.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been
And also,
burnt a few
how much
times.
are they going to tweak that opening section?
Yeah, and will your saves where you're up to, will they still be relevant? Can they still use them? And it becomes, if you're really into it as a community, then I love the idea of kind of community beta testing, however you want to pronounce it, but to buy into that rather than do it as part of a community seems odd.
I mean, the whole PUBG thing is...
PUBG, I think, is the agreed
Yeah, if we call it
abbreviation.
PUBG.
the Pubcast, people are going to think it's purely about. Is it
Oh, I get
RBS?
loads of listeners.
Rock paper call it plunkbat, don't they? And lots of people say, "How dare you call it that? No one calls it that." It's like, that's the point.
Yeah.
They call football foot to ball or whatever. Yeah. Every site's got its own way.
It's
anyway.
PUBG.
Yeah.
But, me and Tef have been playing it. And, I mean, I spent 25 quid on it. And I am having plenty of fun playing it. It's fundamentally, there's a good core of a game there. But it is buggy as hell. And I spent coming up over a ridge the other night. There's a man there. No, it's a tree clipping in.
Yeah.
Like the popping with.
What did you do to that tree, Dom? Did you empty your load into that tree? Did you know?
I did.
I think this is why
Deserved it, Tim.
I'm finding quite well with Fortnite, actually, and particularly today. They've just done quite a sizable update to Fortnite, and it's very much more playable, and it's in much more of a finished game state.
Fortnite, it's got a lot of good. And I don't really do online multiplayer because I'm usually based around when my kids aren't around. So I can never commit I find there's a monster when we play it. I can't always commit to being there for the whole gaming session. What I love with the current gen consoles, when you can suspend it whenever.
Yeah.
You know, when the kids are crying because they're scared of the dark, even though they're supposed to be asleep. But you can just start. I played Evil Within on 360 recently. It was painful, the fact you had to get to a save point before you could stop it. But Fortnite just looks really good fun.
Yeah, it's very
and yet
fun.
it's sort of got that underdog thing going on because everyone talks about.
I mean, you say it is kind of underdog, I suppose, in the kind of wake of PUBG. But I wonder.
PUBG is it?
I'd say PUBG.
That sounds cooler.
Such a hipster.
It's like the original PUBG.
I know how abbreviations are formed. But I think it's sold 40 million copies now.
Something mental.
Or it's been downloaded.
Is that across all?
Yes. Yeah. So actually, just being on an extra platform is helpful. But I think there's a really good word of mouth going on about it, just because it is just feel more refined and more finished, more polished, and it is just good fun. It's nice for me coming from playing a lot of Overwatch for the past sort of while. It's nice playing an online game that doesn't feel like you have too much to stake, and it's nice just playing something for fun, and then if you win or lose, it doesn't matter, it's fun.
But there's something to be said about the game that kind of dominates popular discussion in there, and Overwatch was it for so long. And now PUBG has got that, the whole chicken dinner thing. I don't even know what that is.
No.
I've not played it, but I've seen it everywhere, and I finally got a solo chicken dinner. It's like, that was normally a bad thing when you were queuing up the supermarket to buy a chicken dinner for one. But apparently this is now something you have to work towards. And
Old man yells at memes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that whole kind of, for a while, it's the thing that people now talk about outside of gamers.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
and
The
there doesn't seem to be
watercolour
room for
effect.
the other games. It was Agents of Mayhem, I think it was going to be the same thing, and that turned out to be a single player Saints Row style game. Everyone saw it and thought, it's going to be like PUBG and that's it. So.
It's amazing the popularity of Battle Royale for that, though, because I think so many people either weren't in the position to play PUBG because they didn't have a PC or an Xbox, or because it was early access or whatever, but then people are streaming Fortnite, and then more, I think shitloads of people are streaming Fortnite. I saw the stats the other night, and it was there was a lot of people watching on Twitch and streaming as well as, I don't know, it's fun. It is fun. But I think the game before on Fortnite, I had no kind of. I wasn't really interested in. I don't think many people are interested in. But adding the
I
Battle
really
Royale-
liked the original, what they were pegging it as.
Okay.
Because fundamentally for me, that was grown out of Gears of War.
Yeah.
And the Horde mode.
Yeah.
And I used to, it's particularly sort of Gears 3, where you've got all of your base to build up, you've got to stay on top of it, and then you've got all the enemies incoming. And I love that. I think that's a really good loop.
Not to mention they modelled the main character on you.
Ego.
My beard no longer resembles Marcus Phoenix.
Marcus Phoenix, the after years.
Yeah, I've gone
back when I was a space marine. There was none of this cardboard around there.
No, none of that.
Your limbs have got smaller.
Hey, just not training as much as I used to. But I've completely forgotten what I was saying.
Where Fortnite is
the original.
Yeah. So as an evolution from that point of Gears, I thought it was brilliant. And again, early access. What you're expecting from it, I don't really know.
It looks good, but it's still locked behind the paywall at the moment. It's going fully free to play this year, but the Battle Royale is free, so you can still just play that whatever.
But it's just so many now, and I know it's the same for every genre, but it seems particularly with that kind of Battle Royale, you have to have a lot of people playing for it to be any fun.
Yes,
and you've got
absolutely.
You've got PUBG, you've got Paladins, you've got Fortnite. Overwatch is still going strong. You had Lawbreakers, which died on its arse.
And if you have 100 players, you need so many, because if you die quickly, unless you spectate that whole game, you need to then go back to a lobby and then matchmaking and start
Oh,
a new
so
game.
you're not
players.
forced to sit there and watch other
No,
people
you
have
can
fun.
watch, but otherwise you
I
can
think
just go
that
back
should
to
be
the
part
lobby.
of it. Yeah, just to
Me and my friends will always watch if we end up in the last sort of 10, 15, and then we'll probably watch the rest of it. But you can just go back to the lobby. If you die, if you're the first person to die, you can immediately go back to the lobby and get into another game relatively quickly.
like chicken dinner for you, shit sandwich for you.
Yeah, and sometimes you do land in and get killed really quickly, being able to get back into another game very
Is there
soon
an element
is brilliant.
Sometimes randomly almost being killed before you get a chance to do anything else, just because of where you are.
I mean, not so much in Fortnite. You usually see them at least coming, but it depends if you land and you're really stuck with nothing and someone shoots you a lot. But
because
seems
it
to be
feels
okay.
a lot like back in the old days of playing Quake 3. If somebody knew the map, then no matter almost about how good you were as a first-person shooter.
Sure.
It was all about map memory.
Absolutely.
Whereas is this procedural generation or is it?
No, Fortnite has a map,
So you can learn it, and so in a way you can get better.
But they're
also,
updating it. But then because of the building aspect, you also kind of alter the surrounding scenery around you. I mean, you can knock down trees or rocks or buildings, but then you can also just build up a little. Everyone builds little towers around themselves, and if you watch people that are very good at the game, they're very good at building very quickly and then being on that and shooting. And they're suddenly on a 10-story platform that they've built very quickly.
It's almost taken the real-time strategy Zerg Rush effect into
Yeah.
shooters.
I mean, it's interesting, that kind of dynamic that it throws up. I do like them. But I mean, you say that about map memory is something that I'm really looking forward to about the Dark Souls remaster, and I'm going to buy it on PS4 and Switch mainly because of all these Nintendo-only gamers that have never played Dark Souls before, and I can have a lot of fun invading people on the bus.
You want to invade people on the bus. It's
Sounds so
amazing.
wrong.
Dom's emptied his load into a tree on a hill, and you're going to invade people off the bus.
What next? What are you going to do, Steve?
So, Switch for kids.
Yeah.
Be safe out there. The thing is, I don't know how many of the Nintendoites who just have Nintendo will buy Dark Souls. It'll be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see.
Whether people, because it's so, again, that was one of the previous ones. It's been so kind of popular cultureized.
It's a shame because
this is the Dark Souls of whatever.
but a lot of the kind of the narrative that surrounds that series has been kind of perpetuated by one Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco.
So what are you doing at the moment, Ken?
We're phonetics. I don't know. I think its difficulty is no more difficult than Donkey Kong Country 2 on the SNES.
Which is all Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Yes.
Which is an absolute pain in the
So
ass.
I don't think Dark Souls is harder than those games.
No, once you,
It's just about patience.
It's all
But
about
also-
and understanding
Yes.
how the systems work.
So it'd be a
feels
shame
it
if
because-
people are put off by the marketing spiel that surrounds it.
Which is the weird thing, 'cause it's kind of created this niche, but almost held itself back.
Yes.
And Demon Souls was that difficult, wasn't it? Right?
Demon Souls
You
is
didn't really play, but
similar though. I
that
mean,
had a
it's-
harder first bit to get you into it. And
Yeah, but again, it's just patience
whereas
and,
if
and
in
learning.
Donkey Kong, all
really.
that happens is your gorilla makes a funny face and dies, and then you go straight back into a level. But there's certain stations that with Dark Souls you have to tread across the whole map again. But then Metroid Prime had that. If you finish, if you're a proper Nintendo gamer, you'll have finished Metroid Prime.
Yes.
Hopefully,
I don't
if
think
you really, Dom was looking like he never did.
didn't finish it.
Shame on you.
Shame.
Well, no, because the ending was massively different to the rest of the game. It was suddenly really punishing, and had a really horrible treading through Metroid's bit to get to it.
Yeah.
And it was a massive change.
It was good
in
though. It had
style.
good jumping in it.
It was awesome when you got to the end.
jumping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing game.
I love that.
Oh, it's
Prime.
And I
fantastic.
bought it more times than I should have. But
The end I didn't do.
Apart from I got really bored of it and set it on
whereas
fire.
Dark Souls has got that reputation from the start.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people go into it.
I mean,
If they
but-
die. I mean, I've got all the Dark Souls games, and I've almost played them properly so many times. Because I
Yeah.
know I will love them if I have the time to get into them.
I just find the idea.
And I
just
almost started
really-
Dark Souls on 360 last week, and then they announced the remaster on PS4, and I thought, well,
Yes.
it's a game I want to suspend when I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
So I will now wait and play
I mean,
that
but
way.
how it'll work for people playing on Switch and the suspend feature on that, because I mean, you can suspend on PS4 if you suspend, say, if someone invades your game, then you end up being penalised for that.
Yeah, Bloodborne doesn't allow you to just suspend, does it?
No.
There's stuff in there with that. I don't
Right.
know if the Dark Souls one will help. I mean, I may well end up playing it with all the online stuff off, just because I won't.
You can play them
So
offline,
that way, yeah.
and you can save anywhere, so you can just save exit and saved. But it will be a lot of fun playing with. I think there will be still a portion of people that have never touched them before, and I mean, I could help some of them, and I will hinder some of them. And it's going to be really.
You're going to just judge by their username. If he's got IGN Editor, and they're going down.
It might be the first game that I buy on 5 platforms. So.
Well, I've got it on 360. I've got it on PC.
But on Games Windows,
When I bought it on PC, it
PS3.
wouldn't run on my old PC, so I didn't ever get it. I opened the first room, and it was like literally 2 frames a second, and then just shut down and said
No. Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that. But yes, the sort of world knowledge for online play there is really good fun.
I've got loads of friends and peers who are doing lots of academic stuff with Dark Souls, and Lovecraftian Cthulhu stuff, and the use of antiquary nature and archaeology and all this kind of stuff. So it's an amazing series. I love the lore of it, but I just have never been able to sit there and master it. And just as I was about to start thinking about doing it, Monster Hunter's out next week.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I did struggle in the Monster Hunter beta by thinking it needed the shoulder buttons for attack for a while. Then I actually looked at the instructions properly. It doesn't. It's the
No.
But for one of the weapons did seem to want to use the shoulder buttons.
I think
threw me for a bit. So.
Yeah, I think the thing is that until recently I'd never really put Dark Souls and Monster Hunter together. I don't know why, because
They're
they're
the same.
incredibly similar.
Yeah.
In fact, they are the same game, ultimately. Monster Hunter World, which I have and I'm not allowed to particularly talk about.
Yes.
However, it streamlines the experience, and you can tell that from the beta. So. But the two of them, I think, like it's. I've lost the plot now. 'Cause
They
I've
are
had too much beer.
ARPGs, I think.
Yeah.
No, they are.
I mean, my dream game still sits somewhere between Monster Hunter, Dark Souls, and Berserk. Or those kind of games, but set in the Berserk universe.
Sure.
And that is still my dream
Because you're
game.
twisted.
Yes.
Don't Google Berserk, kids. Just don't.
Don't buy it.
Don't
Instead, start reading the manga. It's
Don't
better.
image
buy it.
search Berserk.
Read the manga. It's the best ever.
So we should move on to the next section.
Yeah, what's next? What
And
is
we're
next?
really
No
looking forward
Godzilla
to
Planet of the
Fable.
Monsters, which came out today.
Was that the question? I forget.
Oh yeah, Fable. Like, what was it? Fable why? Or Fable when?
Fable Ye.
Yeah.
Fable
Maybe
Ye,
when?
isn't it?
When is it coming out?
We don't
It's
know.
not.
No, that's the thing.
It's-
2025.
It's that huge, and it's recently. It's not. Gaming seems to have lost that whole. This has been announced for some time in the future, other than the kind of Lost Guardian kind of stuff. And that
Yeah.
That went out for ages, and then it
It's
came
the
out.
ball rolling
And then,
There
once
seems
they've
to be a
seen
lot
the
died.
feedback, really, haven't they?
there
for
seems to be a lot
Horizon?
more. This is announced and it's out. You know, Dark Souls remastered is out in 3 months.
Yeah.
And that seems to be much more workable and seems better than. Because it becomes a running joke that games never live up to the hype otherwise.
I think so.
We've all played Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I think
Made me cry.
even for me, an acceptable time frame is 1 year prior to release a teaser, and then E3 that year a trailer, and then the next year the game comes out. Even that's like I find that perfectly acceptable.
And
But,
we all know that games take that long to make.
yes.
And I don't think anyone's suddenly thinking these people aren't doing anything if they're not announcing it. And fair enough, you have something probably going to say this is going to come out, or if it's part of a franchise, have a short teaser. But it becomes a massive thing where there's so much energy spent on the teasers and the trailers. But the game itself, it was like, well, I sort of feel like I've seen how so many films now. You watch the trailer and you've seen everything there is in the film.
Sometimes you see things that
Too
never in the
much.
film.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Deleted scenes.
Yeah, and games do that an awful lot as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fable.
Yeah.
Fable.
There aren't enough properly British games.
I think we need a Fable chant, and we could all start chanting Fable.
Marla and you. You're going home with a lie, Englishman.
Instead of that, let's move on to the last section of our pubcast.
We're all shit-faced now.
Well, this is it. We started off as a pubcast, and in my mind it's become a podcast, and now it's a drunkcast.
Drunkcast.
So, to close out episode 1, let's talk about the games we're most looking forward to this year. Because it's January, we've got 12 months of gaming goodness to come.
It's Fable, isn't it? It's Fable in cardboard.
I don't think it's Fable. Aid,
Yes.
what game are you most looking forward to?
Wang the table.
Don't know yourself.
Don't wang the
I
table.
know you're excited.
First rule.
God of War, I'm really excited for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dad of War.
Dad of War.
Dad of War. He's got
Yeah.
a big bushy beard now.
Got no
which
subtitle,
is a
though.
sign of a good game.
They've just called it God of War, which is like instant triggering.
Yeah, they
But,
should have called it God of War.
Is it
4,
looking a
5?
bit too Last of
Just the
Us?
subtitles, fine.
Wasn't the whole thing about apparently feeling a bit Last of Us, the whole protecting a child thing? Which
Yeah, I
I
guess.
like Kratos when he's just being a dick.
I
Yeah.
don't
He's the
mind,
most hateful person.
but I think it's good that they're doing
He's a
something
mature
different than just
Yeah.
doing the same old, same old.
Yes.
And I think that it's exploring a really interesting mythology, that they've gone to Norse mythology after Greek mythology, I think is a good leap.
Was like at the end of God of War 3, there was that kind of Kratos being there dead, and it's just no one there and lightning in
Spoilers.
the sky.
Yeah.
So-
Oh my goodness.
Kratos-
Spoiled this game.
Kratos has died in every game.
But I like the way it was the explanation for why we no longer believe in Zeus and Athena.
Yes, but I think that was Thor that took him away at the end of God of War 3, you see. That's my theory.
I did not think of that.
Yeah, I think Thor kind of
Kra-
came down at the end of God of War 3.
And hopefully be the original version of
"Do you
Thor.
wanna
and be all
fight?"
Pig ugly. with a
Kratos,
chariot with
thou
goats.
might be a god, but thou dost not have hair like me. Yeah,
If the
I'm-
kid's not annoying, I think and there's no jump button, which is terrible, but hopefully they get over that.
you're a Zelda fan. You can't complain about games not having a jump
I don't know.
button.
I don't mind how. Like, I hate jump buttons when you press jump and the character jumps in a way that no one has ever jumped in the history of forever.
You just hate games.
Look at
don't you? You hate games.
No,
that's what
but
you're saying.
I agree with like
Mario
you
doesn't
should
jump like
you
a
should be able to clamber
Just
over
like Mario.
stuff. Like if there's a small bit of rubble, you want to be able to climb over it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I want to jump over it. I just want to climb over it.
Yeah.
So,
Clamber.
yeah,
Clamber.
clamber is more important than
Clambering.
jumping, I think. Unless it's Mario, which would be rubbish.
Exactly.
Clambering Mario.
You made a point.
He's just got his,
Undercut it.
he's just got
Sonic
his
should be able to kind of,
fingernails
like, slightly
on a
after
question
it's
mark.
Sonic, Mario, that's fine. They can jump. But everyone else clamber.
There was a
climbing.
move where platforming involved jumping, and then the exploration kind of started taking
Yeah,
on.
they-
And then you
they
ended with
transitioned
3D
into
platforming, which
3D
so
and-
often goes totally wrong.
Yeah, still jumping. And I think we're done with jumping, climbing, clambering. That's
Norse is really amazing for gaming, but so often there are so many games that have used it badly.
Yes.
So, for every banner saga, there's Vikings, Wolves of Midgard, or whatever. It's
Sure.
called.
I quite liked Wolves.
Well,
I like
very.
I
very
like
bad
that it's a
numbers.
continuation. I like that even in the initial trailer you could see like the sort of scar and his
Yeah,
chest.
what is the
and-
link between the
Exactly.
two?
So there's obviously a lot of time has passed. Yeah, his kid speaks with an American accent, which is kind of weird.
That is a bit
But his kid's bilingual, but Kratos isn't apparently.
Interesting.
Kratos
There's an-
speaks. He's bilingual. He speaks with weapons and his dick.
That's what you need.
As proven by the child.
It's all about the mini games,
Yes.
isn't it? You know,
is
I
true.
sat there. I was playing God of War 3 HD, and then my wife was in the room at the time.
Oh,
and
dear.
it got to the obligatory sex section with him. I looked at her and said, "I'm sorry.
I'm
I
sorry
didn't
for
make
playing
this.
games.
I have to do this. I can't go home."
It's like someone walking in when you're playing Metal Gear, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking now.
You'll be
Or Bayonetta.
This is a really good medium. Oh,
ashamed
no.
of your words.
I am an adult.
She loves it.
Okay.
No, God of War.
Cool.
It should be really good.
Yeah, God of War. I'm excited for.
I've got a lot of time for Kratos.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm a little concerned by the runtime they announced for an action game. That feels a little weighty.
yeah.
What they said.
It was
They
quite
said it's
high, wasn't
like
it? It was like
in the
pushing
20
on
odd hours,
20,
30.
30
Well, if you
hours.
can't jump,
Yeah, that's true.
then you
Take a long time.
There's a lot of time.
You've got to get around everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of time in the boat, apparently.
Around your
that's,
vessel.
and that sounds like their exposition vehicle.
Oh, God of War Wind Waker.
So yeah, but less charm and more like Grand Theft Auto talky, I think, is what it will
See,
be.
there was the Hellblade is now kind of the epitome of the kind of Norse mythology used.
Yeah, sure.
And so God of War's got to at least compete with that, I think. And there were elements in that where you were almost uninteractively in a boat, but they were very limited, and they really worked in terms of getting inside the head, literally, of Senua. So I'll be intrigued to see
I
how
reckon
God
they
of War-
definitely would have thought about that.
Yeah, I think it's got, by having that, by making it more introspective, by not having a jump button. Because that's what it means. Jump button is kind of gaming. Don't have a jump button.
Yes.
Thinking. It just feels less gamey from that. It kind
Because
of,
apparently they were going to do Egypt, and then
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed
Yeah,
did
and they
Egypt.
changed. So they changed what they would do.
They
so
were
I mean,
like,
it could be Norse works really well, but if it's just a palette swap, then we've had Titan Quest that's done the kind of an age of mythology. There was a whole thing 10, 15 years ago that did all of those mythologies and mixed them together, so it could be great. And
Do we punch Odin's bollocks off?
oh, I
That's
hope
what
so.
we wanna know.
If that doesn't happen
Yeah.
by God of War 8,
You gotta
Grab Freya by the ears.
punch a
and-
bollock, replace his missing eye with it in a QTE and say, watch that motherfucker. There you go.
There better be some good QTs.
Stick a raven
Smash
up his
Thor's
arse.
own knees with
Yeah.
Mjolnir. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Get filleted by the snake. You get
Loki transforms into Slipnir the horse and then fillets Kratos.
Oh.
That's going to have to be good.
I mean, also Norse mythology is really grim, isn't it? So it's a kind of a good vehicle for grim kind of
Yeah, the whole-
It's just as grim as the
mythology
Greek
game.
mythology.
Well, the whole God of War 2 and 3 was Ragnarok in Greek mythology more than Greek mythology really had. It was
It
very
wrapped
much
it all up,
the
didn't
War
it?
of the
It was-
Gods
this is-
between the
this
gods
is
and
what
the
happened to
Titans
Zeus. He got
is
his
there in
head
the
smashed
Greek
in.
myth, but it's not really foreground as much as it was in the games, is it? I mean,
No, it was continuous.
it was
for the
much
Greeks.
more,
Go for it.
much more
Yeah, we
Ragnarok-y with the Grecian stuff than it is.
Maybe
in the
Kratos
myths.
causes Ragnarok.
Let's stay on target.
Kratos makes a
Geekgasm.
Fenrir. He makes a Fenrir wolf suit out of cardboard.
Oh, yes, and he wears it
Who's going to be tied to the tree with their own entrails, though?
We all will.
Oh, great.
collectively.
Norse mythology.
Awesome.
Anyway, there we go.
There we go.
So,
Nice.
God of War.
God of
my
War.
pick.
Steve
It's drinking.
drinking beer.
Just as I take a drink. Well, now God of War, obviously. But
So excited now,
But
aren't
it's
you?
all about Monster Hunter World. That's why I've not played any games properly in weeks. Even though every Monster Hunter game I'm really excited about, and then I suck at and don't really get into properly. But I will this time. This time I will do it.
Will you?
I know people online who I'll probably end up trying to play with. One of the lovely Six-Axis crew. Whereas before, I played it on 3DS and Wii, and this never really had the online side working properly.
Yeah.
And so it's always felt like it was missing that part. Whereas now, I will be that terrible gamer. I'm not that bad.
How many players is it support?
It's 4 at a time.
That's it.
Four,
Yeah.
so,
So each.
So it's very much of its. But I really liked to try it on the Wii and really got into it. But then, partly having really crap internet in the flat I used to live in, and also just it wasn't that well occupied at the time. It just didn't ever seem. The Wii wasn't really an online console. It seemed to be an odd mix for trying. It always felt like the way the two was kind of together but separate.
Yeah.
It always felt like you were training to do the online, but never able to take what you'd done into the online. It always felt like they were two separate games, and you weren't getting the best of either. Whereas apparently this seems to be more homogenous, as a word, and more connected. And I like the world of Monster Hunter more than in a way more than I've enjoyed the games up to now.
Sure.
So I think there's an element of really wanting to like it because it's everything I want in a game. You know, Kaz said it's like the dream game, and Monster Hunter really is. Yeah, I really want to, but so far it's not quite done. I think PS4 or Xbox in this current generation, hopefully, will be the one that can do Monster Hunter the justice it needs to actually be playable.
It'll have the player base, even for random
Yeah.
players, I think. If you don't have people to group up with, you've got tens and tens of millions of people to group up with, and that's nice.
And I think that the things that people have bounced off before previously with the series, they've been ironing them out, and they've been ironing them out since certainly Try. Try was a big step forward in terms of accessibility, and it's steadily got better since then. And now with the return to the home console, and Capcom are obviously putting a hell of a lot of their eggs in this basket because it's the biggest release of January. It's the first big release of the year.
Dom has to be careful because he's playing a review copy.
Can't say anything.
He's had a few beers. So
He loves it.
I hate it. It's terrible. So set fire to
watch
it.
out for this. But no, this time I was so excited about this game, and a 40-year-old man, but what the hell, that I bought and played Monster Hunter Stories on the 3DS to immerse myself in the world, get to know the different monsters. Not in an intimate fashion, but you just know.
I think it was.
So it says,
I think it was.
But the problem I have with Try was they do have a kind of inbuilt mythology and lore. We were talking about what God of War minute. If it says go and punch Odin in the balls, you know Odin, you know what that represents. But when it says to go and fight a great Jaggy, if you've not done that in a previous game, it doesn't have that weight of. I played the beta, and I did all 3 of the quests solo. So I kind of feel like that was, I had to switch to a sword and shield because the hammer was a bit too advanced in terms of the timing and everything. So it felt like I even just in that game I got further in playing than I ever did on the Wii version.
Sure.
So in that sense it felt, and even the Fireflies are potentially worrying. I'm sure we'll see more about that as we get closer. They seemed a bit too Witcher sense directing, going back to Fable and the kind of.
I couldn't possibly comment.
That line that draws you to places, it a bit kind of restrictive. But then again, if the game is about twatting big things in the face, the quicker you can get to the big things, maybe the better. And if you want to go off and gather materials, then you can choose to ignore the Fireflies. So that's for me is probably the thing I'm really excited by, which is really depressing in a way because I'm such a Final Fantasy geek. But Dissidia is coming out, and meh. And I've always been quite a big Metal Gear fan, but Metal Gear survived. The beta's come out today. I couldn't even download it. I looked at it and went, no, I can't be bothered. That's hard drive space that Monster Hunter will take up next week. And it's just like, So Monster Hunter's kind of. Maybe in next month's podcast I'll be going, like we have previously. But no, I'm going to make it this time. Damn it, I'm going to bang the table with the microphone. Monster Hunter World.
Awesome. Kale.
I think Ni no Kuni 2.
How was the first one? I missed it on PS3.
Bloody lovely, really lovely. The combat was shite, but you kind of, I don't know, it wasn't so terrible that it was actually a bad game to play. It was just disappointing. It couldn't quite decide what it was, but the rest of the game kind of out-charmed the fighting, I think, and it's wonderful. I spent a lot of time playing Ni no Kuni.
Would you describe yourself as a Japanophile?
Not really.
So it's not just the Ghibli side; it's just the actual game.
Ghibli
world.
side of it is brilliant. But yes, the actual world was just incredibly charming. Yeah, it was effectively a Ghibli game, and not just aesthetically either. It all of the dialogue, the quests, lots of the other stuff in the original one just felt extremely like Studio Ghibli. Really lovely. And the new one looks great, and it's got sort of lots of classic JRPG extra fluff that looks quite fun. There's like a town building stuff, and then there's some sort of weird RTS strategy battle bit.
And a fishing,
it's got one of those.
It's got to be a fishing mini game.
Hopefully,
it's not fishing. A JRPG. If it's not a fishing mini game in there.
I haven't watched too much because I think trailers these days kind of spoiled too much. But I've watched bits of each kind of aspect, and it looks great. It's really, really fun.
I'm interested if it doesn't rely on having much knowledge of the first one.
Although
I'm prepared to do the whole kind of read up on wiki and.
I think it's set in the same world, but not the same time period. So there's locations reappearing, but many years later, or I'm not entirely sure.
Because the first one was due to be on 3DS, but never made it over here, and
yeah,
I think was it Japan only, or did it actually? At one point, it was supposed to be a 3DS release, and I was waiting for that, and then it was cancelled on that and never happened. So
it came out on PC, so I think they ported it onto PC.
The first one came out on PC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Might have to check that.
I know the
I
second
might have
one's...
to check that.
Fact check.
Might have
Don't
dreamt
take
it.
this as being accurate
Yeah.
information.
I know the
God,
second
I haven't
one
got
is-
like.
I know the
made it up.
second one is due out on
There is
PC.
no game called
I've imagined all of
Kuni
it.
2.
Who?
You just made up random words. It don't even sound like a real game.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that looks really fun. It's
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
March, which is always a good, nice time for games.
Yeah, God of War.
Definitely don't have
Mentioned
shitloads of
March.
stuff to do.
Unless you're still playing Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I will be getting Monster Hunter, so 2 months. That's okay. That's enough time.
Yeah.
And then 2 months for Ni no Kuni before Dark Souls Remaster comes out. And that's my life again.
And then you die. That's it.
And that's it. Yeah, I'll be dead then.
Well, Dark Souls, yeah. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Perfect.
So, Dom, what
Was
are you
that
looking
not, was that not as long waffle as you wanted? Did you want more waffle?
No, that's perfect.
Okay, great.
Just the right amount of waffle. Need some eggs on there.
See, the answer would have been Monster Hunter World.
No, you've got that.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
I am playing that now.
You can't say a
and
word.
I'm not allowed to tell you.
Tell
about
us.
it.
Tell us. The mic has turned off and Dom has said, it's a 3 out of 10. Oh my god, after Aaron's NBA 2K. Oh my word.
So, the thing is
That was a
Minus
joke.
3 out of 10.
in my head, I've got 3 games this year, so and they all begin with S. So
Today's
I've
podcast is brought to you by the
got
letter
S.
S.
So
Yes, number
I've
3.
got State of Decay 2, which oddly I don't really like zombie games. However, State of Decay, despite being fundamentally really, really janky, did an amazing job of having this post-apocalyptic world, and you building your base and everything, and then going into people's homes and stuff and trying to get all the things that you need. It looks like State of Decay 2 is just doing that, and hopefully isn't going to be broken.
But it needs to be a bit... State of Decay was like the zombie version of the Piranha Bytes RPGs, like Gothic and Risen, that are so loved by those that like...
That's a really good comparison.
And I really liked Elex, and I reviewed it a month or two back, and I do like that kind of thing. But so it was great because it wasn't utterly polished. And Dead Island was supposed to be so polished, and actually was just dull.
Sure.
In a way, whereas State of Decay had something that was really charming about it.
No, and they're adding co-op multiplayer in there as well, and I think, and again, it's going to be Xbox One X enhanced, so it's going to be 4K. Like, trailers look really good, so there's that. So that's number 1 choice of the year.
How did you get 3?
I don't know.
Yeah, I just
You
got
gave us
one.
one.
What was that about?
Because
Now
the
you
one,
get 3.
because the one that I want to talk about, I've got.
Oh.
I'll be dead quick.
All right, go on.
Number 2, Sea of Thieves,
Yes.
which again, multiplayer-wise, looks really cool.
Your choice is
it's-
dictated by your most recent console purchase.
And it's in no way
No,
related
because
to the
number
fact
3 is not.
you run a pub called the Three Mariners, and you want a game called the Sea of Thieves. Well,
Promotion.
It's really nice.
you like saying "arr."
We do. I used to be one of them.
It should be the Xbox
Three
one.
Is,
Arr.
is Sea of Thieves the cartoony one or the Ubisoft one? Which
It's
one's
the
it?
cartoony
The
one.
cartoony one.
So it's
The
it's rare.
Yeah, that's just the house.
So-
It's the Ubisoft one. Will it have something flying in the sky that can look down on everything?
So it's being developed by Rare, and over the years, Rare have been very capable of turning in some absolutely amazing games. And Rare Replay, if anything, served to remind everybody of that. And hopefully,
Was Connect Sport in
we're
the
forgetting
Rare
about
Replay?
Connect Sport. And hopefully, forgetting Connect Sport, it's going to be good. And it looks good. And there's yet more betas to play and things like that to get into it.
Everyone's saying betas. Letting the betas team down, guys.
I know. I always go beta, but for some reason beta kind of came in. But
So that was number 2. And number 3, Spider-Man.
Is that this year, though? I mean,
Well,
giving it a release date, have they? It should be, but
the footage that we've seen looks kind of like it should come out this
Yeah.
year, really.
I would hope so. Have they given a release date yet?
I don't think so, but I think it is supposed to be this year.
Yeah, I think last I saw was like a vague 2018. Spider-Man's always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If they can make a Spider-Man game that's fun and make it closer to the Batman ones that seem to have more meat to them,
I think that's
then yeah.
what it looks like. I think say that Spider-Man's always fun. That's not necessarily
No,
true, is
but
it?
just the idea of being Spider-Man in the game is a fun idea.
Yes, it is, yes.
The games
Unless
aren't
you're not
all-
in New York and there's no skyscrapers.
The
and you're
games
just
aren't
running around the
always
place.
the games aren't always brilliant, and
it's like
the
Assassin's
PS2
Creed 3.
one had to be cut out because it accidentally
Trees.
preempted 9/11, of course, which is never a good thing.
Yeah.
But you know, other than that,
Shocking.
I
Conspiracy
had
theory.
completely forgotten about Spider-Man, to be
But
honest, because
I
it's
think-
it's almost like a cool tech demo now because it's been there and thereabouts for so long.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's almost like it's whether actually is there that much demand for an individual Spider-Man game now that Spider-Man is part of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I
Maybe
think
more.
after Homecoming was a really good film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's going to have renewed interest in Spider-Man. You can forget about Andrew Garfield and
What's
those.
it,
Well, the second film, the first film was alright, but the
I'm
second.
more wanting to forget Maguire, really. Like,
I know Maguire has those films have not aged well.
He cries like a legend, though. All of his veins are going, his eyes are bulging, tears are coming from every orifice.
he looks like a 70-year-old man stuck in a 30-year-old
Yeah.
man's body.
Spider-Man 3 is terrible.
Playing a 22-year-old man.
I still like Spider-Man 2, though. That was good.
Spider-Man 2
With Doc Ock.
Spider-Man should be emo.
was very good.
No,
That was Spider-Man 3.
that was
My
when they
first ever
killed it.
Spider-Man comic was him in Secret Wars 2, where I learned that eggplant was the American term for aubergine. I mean, that's my origin story for first Spider-Man. Everyone's got one. The movies have got like 10 different origin stories for Spider-Man.
Well,
But-
that's true.
With great power
I've
comes
still got my
great
first
importance
Spider-Man
to do
comic.
stuff.
Have you?
Yeah, it was called Identity Crisis, which is confusing if you're a DC fan. And he wasn't Spider-Man in the entire comic, well, most of the comic. He took on a bunch of other roles because J. Jonah Jameson had made it too difficult to be Spider-Man, so it became 3 other superheroes. Wow. And it's really cool.
I think I still have my first Spider-Man outfit.
I've still got one.
So first,
Spoilers.
This is the next stage of the podcast.
Kay is wearing it tonight.
I am. It's a little tight.
I always, for me though, Spider-Man is always Spider-Man and Zoids, because that's my
Okay.
generation, and yeah, Zoids has kind of got a rebirth in Horizon, which is very much
Yeah,
Zoids
no,
movie.
Yeah,
I saw the
definitely.
But
Zoids.
Spider-Man has always been
reference
and something else to me. I don't know. It looked fun in the trailers, but I don't know.
Can't get excited.
I love the Lego superheroes games so much, but my son always insists on getting 100% in them, and that drags quite a lot.
Yeah.
None as much as Lord of the Rings, which is the longest game ever. But yeah, but a whole game. I don't know.
Yeah, if any game, it's going to be a
back
long game.
Will it just?
They're back again.
There's a niche.
Trophies.
There's a niche joke for you. I just don't know if there'll be an element of Spider-Man being a bit one-dimensional as a game.
Sure.
So
I'm
I
still
just hope
looking
he has
forward
the webbing in his armpits. That's my only requirement.
I think
so
he
he can
does have the
glide.
webbing in his. in
Thank
his
God.
anyway, he can climb anything, so he's like Link. He's more Link than he is Aloy.
Yeah, she can only.
As long as he's
She can only climb
wearing
yellow
the right
ledges.
clothes.
If it's not yellow, she doesn't care.
Or off-white ledges.
But that's all because Aloy is just sight impaired. That's why we paint yellow on any street furniture. Aloy, the whole backstory, we'll see this in the sequel. It'll come in.
She only sees yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Does seem-
And on
yeah.
that bombshell, I think that's probably the end. Of,
Good, I'm about to piss myself.
and on
Which is
that
something the audience will never say.
No,
This has
never.
been the Sixth Axis Pubcast.
Hello.
Hopefully, it turns out all right when I edit it.
It'll be 3 minutes long.
I might have said fuck a lot.
It will be
Sorry,
purely
everyone.
Dom saying, "Hello, I'm Dom. These are the games I want to play."
Yes. Yes, Dom. You are correct.
And hopefully, you'll return again next month for when you listen to us talk drunkenly about games.
You might know what we're doing then.
Good night.
Thanks.
No.
See you
Bye.
later.